like I20 का actually use क्या है? So the first use of I20 is basically to pay the service fee. Of getting an admit into a US university. So I know you have done all the hard work, you have given a lot of months and a lot of years to get into a university which you want to go. Now comes the main important part. So as you know that there are a lot of documents involved in the visa process. So once you have an admit from the university, there is a very important document known as the I20, which is very important for you to actually go ahead and book your visa slots. So in this video we will be talking about the I20, what are the documents needed for I20, and also what actually is the I20. So there are a lot of documents in the whole admission process, so you might get confused. I'll be talking about each and every detail of the I20, so if you are interested, keep watching. So what actually is I20? So I20 is basically your certificate of eligibility as a non-immigration student status. For example, your F1 visa, and this basically certifies that you have gotten into a university and you are willing to pay the expenses, that he or she is financially stable and can pay the expenses on their own, or a sponsor can sponsor them for all the expenses. The expenses include the tuition fees, housing, food, rent, medical insurance. All of these things are included in the I20 finances, and you have to show them that hey, I will be able to cover all these expenses when I'm going for my undergraduation or my master's degree. So this is basically what an I20 is, and it is issued by the SEVP. SEVP is basically the Student Exchange and Visitor Program, which issues you your I20. So I'll tell you how this works. So I have applied to a university and I have gotten the admit from the university. Now what will happen is the admissions office will contact me saying that hey, congratulations on your acceptance. Now you have to send us all the bank statements as well as the sponsor materials that you can financially cover when you come for the masters. For example, the $60,000 fee they have calculated, and they will tell me that hey, this program costs this much, and all of the expenses are, for example, $80,000. So you have to show us that you are able to afford the $80,000 fees, which includes all of them, and you can afford them. And basically they don't want you to come here and then work part time, or you go there and you do not have any money. So basically they want to avoid this issue. That is why they are asking you the expenses, and you might also find that these expenses are a bit overpriced. For example, the total fees may be coming at $50,000, but they are asking about $70,000, so which is $20,000 more. So basically they are calculating it on their own, and they are basically taking that the rent is $600 or $800 or $900. This is a maximum rent which they are thinking that this is a maximum rent a student can pay. You can also live at $500 or $400, that will not be an issue. So this is basically what an I20 is. So now let us talk about what is SEVP. So SEVP stands for Student and Exchange Visitor Program, and this is basically a system which monitors the M&F students who want to come to the United States on either a M visa or an F1 visa. So they basically when you send the financial documents to your university, they basically send it to the SEVP, and SEVP basically puts them in your in the financial dashboard of them, and they have to ensure that you are following all the rules and regulations also. So in order for a university to make a international student come to the university and study there, they have to be SEVP certified. All this process has to go through the SEVP. So when you are sending your documents, always ensure that your bank statements as well as your sponsors, any other things, do not make an error in that. And you should always if they're asking for $70,000, then you can show them at $73,000, because you do not want to take a risk. And if your application or your I20 is there is an error in your I20, so it will take a long time to they will come back to you and say hey, these amount of money is less, and then you will send them again, then they will come back to you after 4 weeks. So this is a hefty process. So always ensure that your finances are in check. Now you may ask that what is the use of I-20, like I-20 का actually use क्या है. So the first use of I-20 is basically to pay the service fee. So service fee is basically as soon as you receive the I-20, there is a SEVIS, which is service ID, which you can use to actually go ahead and book your visa slots and actually fill the DS-160 form. So that is a whole different process, and I will be making a video on them. The next video will be on them only. And basically in your I-20 there is a service ID, and that service ID you have to use and go ahead and book your visa slots. So number one use is this. Number two is when you go to the visa interview, they usually ask for your I-20. The first thing they ask is your I-20, because it contains all the documents that you are going to this university for this program, and this is the financial documents which you have, or this is where you will be staying. So all these documents, all this information are contained in the I-20. Number three is the customs officer can also ask for your I-20. So as soon as you land in the US, you have to go through a customs and border security officer, and which can ask for your I-20, because he or she might need the information that actually you are going to the particular university or not. And number four is basically there are a lot of benefits entitled to the I-20. For example, as soon as you land in the US, you have to get a social security number for which you need an I-20. You might also need to get a car if you want to, or a driver's license, for which also I-20 is very useful. So these are the basic uses of I-20, and I will be talking about the service and the visa parts in the next video, so stay tuned. So now let us talk about what are the documents required for the I-20 process. So number one is your financial documents. So as I stated previously in my video, that you have to show a minimum amount of funds to the university that you are willing to finance your education only, and these funds have to be greater than or equal to the funds requested by the university. For example, you are going to a master's program and they are asking you $72,000 to $74,000 of the total master's program, which include all your expenses. So you have to show a minimum of that, or you can also show more than that. So I request you to show a couple more than that, because there is a foreign exchange rate going on. For example, I am in India, and if I am going to the US, so the current rate is 74, but the banks don't charge this current rate. So if it is a couple of thousand bucks here and there, and you might also your I-20 might get rejected, and they might ask you to like transfer more funds to your bank and then issue another I-20, which takes another 4 weeks. So always keep a safe side and show funds more than like if they're asking for $74,000, you can show $78,000 or $79,000, which will be more than enough. You don't have to pay them, you just have to show them that I can finance my education in the current year. And the number two is your sponsoring documents. For example, you are being sponsored by another relative here or another person, so he or she has to sign an affidavit that, hey, I am willing to sponsor this, and he is going to this university for masters, and I am willing to sponsor them. So each and every sponsor has to sign a different affidavit. And the number three document is your passport. Obviously you need a passport to issue for the university to issue an I-20 to you. You need a passport. And the fourth is the service in transfer form, which is not for you, which is basically for another person who is currently in the US and who wishes to study at another institution in the US. So if you are not in the US right now, so this form is not for you. So this is it for the video, guys, and I hope you like the video, and I hope you like understand what the hype of I-20 is all about. I have broken down into simpler terms in this video, and I hope you liked it. In the next video, I will be talking about specifically the visa documents, that is the service fee, the service ID, DS-160 form, how to book your visa. So all these videos are upcoming in the next video, and I have also created a playlist of that. I will be putting the link in the description below, so check it out. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me on my social media handles. And if you like the video, do hit a like, and if content is relevant to you, then consider subscribing the channel. और इस वीडियो के लिए इतना ही, मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में. बाय बाय.
So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I'd never kiss the rain. Ice runs in